through so much. Right now, everyone is very worried about COVID-19, about catching a virus, about making it, because we hear so many stories. But before everyone was obsessed with COVID-19 as one pandemic, there were several others. And one was definitely about non-communicable diseases and heart, stroke, diabetes type 2, respiratory disease were already there. Cancer was also a big one. And there are so many things we can learn from people who have been battling with a life and death situation like you have. No one could ever tell. You are radiant.
Thank you.
I hear you had a big birthday recently, so but it doesn't show. So there are so many things about you which inspire strength, resilience. What have you learned from this battle that you have led, that you have thought, and how could that be a message of inspiration for people today battling other diseases and fearing COVID-19?
Well, I love that question. And also it does so much today resonate why I have a brand called Immunocologie. And because we're working with the immune system every single day, is trying to stay healthy, right? And so now that we've gone through this whole past year, there's been this direct relationship that we now have across the world, around the world, about our wellness and what that journey is about. And when I was going through cancer, which was Hodgkin's lymphoma, and that was 14 years ago, that was a shock for me. And just like a shock for us to see a virus like COVID-19 hit us, not knowing what to do, what do we do? And we kind of go through different kind of emotions through that, which is what I did. I went through a lot of emotions when that happened. And it was before that I had been working and developing products, as you mentioned before. And I had been working on products that would, in my formulations, was all about bringing wellness, but also health to the skin, knowing that the skin is the largest organ of the body, knowing about the skin's microbiome, right? But it just, in that sense of being able to develop products for the industry, was very important, because I came from a knowledge of skin, working on skin, looking at molecules, understanding what those molecules could do, the bio research that was going on. So I really got to see this full circle, not only in my career of being with great companies at a very young age, but now to full circle that today. So I really got to know the bio research part of what goes into skincare products, not just my own, but so many products out there, and understanding what I call from soil to seed, and seed really to market, is to understand how do those ingredients, how do we value those ingredients when it gets on our body. So going into that full circle, our immunity is so very important to the health and the well-being of our being, and so to our future and to how we live our lives. And I knew that very, very young, at a very young age. But how do you change that narrative in an industry that is very much about smoke and mirror, right? And a lot of times in the industry, as my grandmother used to say, powder and paint makes a woman what she ain't. And I remember that saying, because she used to like taking me to the cosmetic counter when I was very little, and then to a movie. But it was through that I understood that these molecules that are going into a product, and how effective are these molecules going into that product. Well, when you work on skin and you see effects from ingredients, then you start to really understand the skin. It's almost become second nature to you, but more than that, you have a love for skin. And for myself, I have this, love affair for skin, because I want to see that skin so beautiful. And no matter what product that I was working on, it had to be a product that was going to make a difference. It couldn't just be any product. It had to have a purpose. It had to be effective. It had to have something that had value. But we didn't have the research way back then on the type of molecules that we have today. It was very much a cold cream world back then. It got a little more sophisticated, a little more sophisticated. But now these ingredients for the immune system, which is what we call, and we look all around the world now today, that people have what we call the green movement, right? Of being able to use ingredients that are going to be healthy for us, but also that are non-toxic. Well, you know, I will have to tell you, 32 years ago, I developed a brand that was just that. But it was very difficult to talk about the microbiome. It was very difficult to talk about the fact that I drank the chamomile before I put it into the formula, or I drank the black tea before I put it into the formula. But I did that because I wanted to understand those ingredients before I put it into the product, being that those were active ingredients. And it's that, I want to say, epidermis that we work with as an industry of what's going to happen when we put those molecules on that skin. So working with the skin's immunity is really what I have studied over the past 20 years. And when I got sick, one of the biggest things that I really realized at that moment is I couldn't answer the question, why or how? And we always are in this place of, you know, did I make that happen? Why did I get that? Or what am I doing wrong? Well, we have to look at it first from a real holistic side of what are we doing? What can we do better? And so knowing that the skin does have this ability to absorb, we know it's the largest organ of the body. What are we absorbing into that? And that's where, you know, women particularly are absorbing anywhere between 55 to 200 toxic ingredients into our body. So we have receptors, right, in that category too.